Call to order this Board of Directors meeting for January 23rd, 2024. This is a special called board meeting due to the fact that it does deviate from our normal first and third Tuesday schedule. Roll call.
Hunt.
Here.
Blair.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Wiles.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Smiley.
Here.
Rissler.
Here. At this time, if you will, please stand with me as Director Smiley leads us in prayer, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for so many blessings you have given our community and for this great day. We ask that you watch over those struggling and in compromised situations. We are thankful for the opportunity to come together to serve our citizens. We ask you to give us the ability to make wise and careful decisions in the best interest of our citizens. We pray that you keep our community safe and healthy and watch over our community, our nation, and all those that serve and protect us wherever they may be. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to ask that anyone that has an electronic device, please silence that or turn that off so we don't have interruptions during the meeting. Thank you for that. And we do have a new member of our Siloam Springs Utility Commission. And so Ms. Cami Hevner, if you will come forward, Cami, we will swear you in.
Before entering upon their duties, each member shall take the oath of office prescribed in Article 19, Section 4 of the Arkansas Constitution. You will repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Tammy Huebner,
Tammy Hevener,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Siloam Springs Utility Commission member,
the duties of the office of the Siloam Springs Utility Commission member,
upon which I am now about to enter.
upon which I am now about to enter. Thank you.
Do you feel official?
I feel it. I don't know if this is what.
All right, next is our public input time. I would ask if there is anyone here that would like to address the board on an item that is not on our regularly scheduled agenda.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Board. Arthur Hulbert, 20705 Highway 16, Siloam Springs, President of Siloam Springs Chamber of Commerce. It's a great pleasure I get a chance to present some checks to our Holly Jolly Christmas Yard Decorating Contest winners. So some are here, some are not, but Amanda Hitson, Ward 1, $100. You can come on up and get your check. All right, we have Ward 2. Winner was Kathleen Van Pook. Kathleen Van Pook. All right, I'm sure we'll get a picture another day. That was for $100. And then Ward 3's winner was Matt Yunkin for $100. Looks like the pictures will go quicker. All right, and then Ward 4, who was also the grand prize winner, received $200, but it's someone very, very, very big and strong behind me as our winner. Robert Laporte, come on up. So he was a winner. He was a winner of Award 4 and also the grand prize award winner. Congratulations to you. Good deal. And we'll go, you betcha. Mark, would you-
Thank you, Arthur. Is there anyone else? If not, is there anyone that would like to address the board on an item that is on our consent agenda? There is not. We will move on then to our consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, January 9, 2024. Item B, pre-agenda meeting minutes, January 17, 2024. Item C, Resolution 05-24, Procedures and Organizational Matters of the Board of Directors. Item D, Resolution 06-24, Amending 2023 Budget. Item E, Resolution 07-24, Amending Purchasing Requirements for Utility Inventory. Item F, Approve Lease Purchase, Electric Department, 5-year lease purchase, 2 electric trucks, $120,000. That is the complete consent agenda. Directors, is there any item that you would like to have removed for further consideration?
Madam,
Yes.
letter C, please.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
letter F.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, I will ask if I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with items C and F removed.
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Motion is approved. So at this time, Betsy, you wanted item C, the procedures and organizational matters of the board.
I wanted to make sure that paragraph that had been left off, that we talked about in the pre-agenda meeting, was added. Okay. And then how about keeping the part about notifying the board? Was that,
Yes.
okay, so
That
it's.
was added back in as well.
Okay, it's just, it's not in the, I didn't see it in the packet, so, okay.
It is in the packet.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, David.
what is on the agenda that's in red, that's been changed, is different from what had been discussed of only changing the number of days to abide by state law. I was told that we were leaving it as it was voted a year ago on the mayor's veto power, except the days were changed to abide by state law. But what we have in our packet goes back to saying the mayor has the power to veto all decisions. I do not want us to be tripping ourselves up in 10 to 20 years with a different board, going through the same hassle with the AG of deciding what the word decisions mean. And I would prefer that we keep this as it was worded a year ago, which we have in front of us. And it says the mayor has the power to veto any ordinance, resolution, or order other than personnel passed by a majority of the board of directors and/or adopted by the board of directors within so many days of the board of directors' vote, at which time the mayor shall file in the city clerk's office a written statement of reasons for the veto. The mayor's veto statement will be communicated to the board of directors by the city clerk immediately upon the clerk's receipt of the statement of veto. At the first board of directors meeting following the veto, the board may override the veto by a 2/3 majority, which is 5 affirmative votes when you have 7. But that's not what is in our board packet.
Mayor?
Yes.
So my understanding is we're going to leave, if that's the board's decision, we will leave it as it is and change to go with law from 5 days to 3 days. That will be the only change to 3 days. Is that my understanding?
I am assuming that directors, is that what you would like to have? So then a motion would be that you would like to approve this resolution with no changes except 5 days to 3 days. Is that correct? Yep.
Make the motion.
Okay, so you'll make that motion. Okay, and do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Madam Mayor, we're voting
Yes.
to approve the whole thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes. Motion is approved. Next is item F. David?
I just wanted to make sure for public's knowledge, it says 2 electric trucks. I want to make sure we're not having anyone believing that we're buying trucks that are electric powered. Because we all saw what happened in Chicago where there were lines that the electric charging stations did not work and people that had electric vehicles could not go anywhere. We're actually being towed by gas-powered vehicles. So I just want to make sure that that is not something people in the audience or online or whatever may misinterpret.
Yes.
These are trucks for the electric department.
That is correct.
That's all I
Yes.
wanted to say. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? If not, then do I have a motion to approve item F for the purchase of the lease purchase of the 2 electric trucks?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next item is contracts and approvals, budget amendment, Public Service Department, Parks and Recreation Division. This item has been requested to be pulled from the agenda, so we will not be discussing that item this evening.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
can I ask
Lisa.
a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though we're not discussing it, I had a lot of input, and I didn't forward the emails because it's just, I wasn't able to.
Sure.
So today I sit down, when I was in the hospital, I sat there and I categorized them. And I kind of would like to share them with the directors. If I printed them off and I wanted to make it public, the comments that I received, and I want to share them with the directors because I can't do it in private. Can I take this opportunity to pass them out and share them with the public? With the other directors, basically. I want the other directors to know.
What we're doing, I'm sorry, I've got a text, someone couldn't make it tonight, and I was just making sure they were supposed to speak, and they're not going to be here. Ask me,
Lisa, are you saying you have printed copies? Is that what you're saying?
I just want to pass them out.
You want to pass them out to the directors? Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
not a problem with that.
And there's enough for some of the public that would be interested in it. Just so you know where people stand and what they,
And then this will enable the directors to have this information whenever they are looking at perhaps in the future when this is brought back, so. And I believe, Alan, that you said that it will, you all are going to gather more information and it will be later on before we reconsider this, is that correct?
yes,
Yeah.
we've gotten feedback, and so what I think we need to do is, my decision was to pull this. I'm looking at doing a town hall meeting, and the next few weeks, a few weeks to a couple months, to just educate and let the public and citizens know. I think there's some misinformation getting out there, exactly what we want to do or what we're looking at. So again, that'd be a good way to gather information.
Perfect, thank you very much. So with that, we will move on to the next item, which is service agreement, Public Service Department, Parks and Recreation Division, Youth Sports Programming for 24 through 2027, Boys and Girls Club of Western Benton County. Travis?
Good evening, Board, Mayor. Travis Chaney, Parks and Recreation Manager. You have before you a contract for approval for a service agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of Western Benton County for youth sports in Siloam Springs. Chris Schimmer from the Boys and Girls Club is here tonight. The Boys and Girls Club of Western Benton County has offered youth sports for youth in the city for quite a number of years. They've had a contract with the city to do so for the past 8 years at least, specifically for youth sports. But the city has supported the Boys and Girls Club in other capacities and under other agreements for longer than that. These contracts typically come up for renewal every 3 years. Last year, we came to this board about this time last year with an amendment to the contract to allow Boys and Girls Club to take youth baseball, which they did, and this board received a couple of updates on that. They did a fantastic job. And so we've kept youth baseball in their agreement for the next 3 years. And this is a budgeted item, so we expect no unexpected negative financial impact. And I'm ready and open for any questions, and Chris Schimmer is here to answer any that I cannot.
Thank you, Travis. Directors?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David?
Travis, the price or the cost expense has not raised.
The past 8 years, it was $85,000. So this year, with the addition of youth baseball, and then, of course, addition of costs overall from 8 years ago, it's gone up to $105 to reflect both the increased cost of youth baseball plus increased costs over the past 8 years.
But
it's in the budget, and this year, $405.
okay. Did we add money last year when they took the
We did
baseball?
not.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we
The
offset that.
idea last year, mainly because it came kind of at the last minute, was to let them get through the season, see what their real costs were, and then look at a reflection of that cost in this year's updated agreement.
So will this be automatically paid every year for the next 3 years?
It will be, that's correct.
Yeah, that we won't have to come back and,
No, sir, we will not.
okay.
As long as
Anyone
it's,
else?
again, in the budget each year.
Yeah.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this agreement with the Boys and Girls Club? If not, directors, I will come back to you to ask if there is any comments or questions before I ask for a motion.
I will say, Madam Mayor, I've been not necessarily involved. I was on the board long ago, but I could tell you they could not have a more honest and decent manager in their leader, CEO Chris Schimmer, and never a question on that it's worth every penny, what Boys and Girls Club does for the youth of Siloam. And we appreciate what him and his team do.
Thank you, David. I will add to that, and I have had several people comment to me how much they appreciate the Boys and Girls Club, what they do for the community, and how well this last year went, even though it was very short notice that you all were given to take that program over. So comments I've heard have all been positive, so thank you, Chris, and thank your staff.
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
I too appreciate the Boys and Girls Club and Mr. Schimmer doing this. I think it's very important for our kids. It gives them an outlet to come together and participate. My husband used to participate and help coach, and he enjoyed it just as much or more than the kids did. So I really enjoy seeing this happen. I think it's wonderful that Siloam continues to do this.
One other
What else?
thing, Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I don't know
David.
if people are aware, Chris, the Boys and Girls Club still operates out of Gravett as well, correct? I mean, they were at one time, I hadn't kept up, so I didn't know, but I mean, you guys do an awful lot for the, and it's called Benton, or West Benton County. It's Boys and Girls Club of Western Benton County.
Yeah, correct. That's why we actually just did a DBA that,
Chris,
unfortunately, right now,
pull the mic, please. Thank you.
unfortunately, we do not operate an after-school program in Gravett, but we still involve them in a lot of our sports programs and some other items they do. Right now, we just have our site in Siloam Springs and Gentry, and we're looking at actually expanding some in Gentry there with the numbers that we have, with what's going on there.
Well, it's amazing you can operate 2 facilities is my point.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
and you guys do an amazing job. We appreciate everything you provide.
Thank you.
And I will say, this is a prime example of the city partnering with an outside organization to do something that the city cannot do. I mean, yes, we could provide all these services for maybe a couple $1 million, but it's like, this is something that the city has learned over the years, that it's best to allow the pros, which the Boys and Girls Club are, at providing these sports and after-school programs, et cetera. So this is a prime example of the partnering that the city can do, and it's been a good situation.
Might I make a statement?
Yes.
Just real quick there. And thank you, David. We really could not do this without the partnerships that we have with the city, with our schools, and we have, other key stakeholders that do it. And then all of the volunteers. I mean, we have hundreds of volunteers that will give of their time every year. And I'm telling you, it's getting tougher to be a volunteer with a lot of the, if you're familiar with the Coach Safely Act that that the Arkansas legislation passed in the spring, I believe, which requires additional training for volunteers that they basically have to go through. And, on top of that, a lot of the training that we've been instructed and things that we have to do, like all of our coaches, basically, the majority of them are, AE, they are certified for by first cross training. They all receive that. They learn how to run AED. We have them out at pretty much majority of our sites that we do. So the emphasis that we've been really putting on in the last couple of years, and then on top of what the city's done, it's more, there's a lot more involved with, your volunteers learning their craft and what they're doing as a coach and how to work with young people, and also safety, which is which is probably our number one priority in doing those things. So we could not do it without that, and I appreciate you talking about the staff, because, I think we have our staff that we have, especially our full-time staff, as good or better than anybody in the state. We probably have, I think, probably close to 50 years experience with our staff combined. And so we're really blessed to have that. It makes my job a lot easier. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Directors, do I have a motion to approve the service agreement with the Boys and Girls Club for the year 2024 through 2027?
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes. Motion is approved. Next is our ordinances. Ordinance 24-01, second reading, vacation of a utility easement, 816 East Main Street. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board, Ben Rhodes, Senior Planner. This is, again, second reading, request close needed utility easement on the south side of the property and preparation of redevelopment of the site, 816 East Main Street. Staff has received no additional comments on this request, and we're still recommending approval, and we're available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Directors, any comments or questions for Ben? If not, is there anyone in the audience that has any comments or questions on this ordinance? If not, I will come back to you, directors. Ask, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-01 on its second reading, suspending the rules and reading by title only?
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes. Motion is approved. Allen?
Apologies, Mayor, I was looking through here I had a question, and ordinance number 24-01, an ordinance vacating and abandoning a utility easement at 816 East Main Street.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 24-02, second reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from C2 to R4, 4290 Sherry Whitlock Drive. Ben?
Yes, thank you again, Madam Mayor. Yes, this is the rezoning at the south, I said southeast, it's actually southwest corner of the property there. It's going from C2 to R4. And their desire is to construct townhomes on the property. And the rezone also requires a future land use map change to neighborhoods 3, which staff does support in this case. Staff has not received any additional comments since the last reading, and we are available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Directors, comments or questions? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to ordinance 24-02? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Noah Giels with Engineering Services, Inc. at 1207 South Old Missouri Road in Springdale, Arkansas. We are representing the rezone, and we would like to request both the second and third reading be done tonight.
All right, thank you. So with that request, directors, do you have any comments or questions concerning this request?
Madam Mayor, I
Yes.
don't support rezone multi-readings. Just out of long-term practice that the only time we usually do that is when it's an internal housekeeping issue. So I don't believe we should be doing that.
Any other comments? Do I have a motion then to place ordinance 24-02 on its second and third reading? If I do not, then I will ask for an ordinance to place ordinance 24-02 on its second reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-02, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from C2 to R4, property located 4290 Sherry Whitlock Drive, and amending the future land use map of the Siloam Springs 2040 Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Next are our resolutions. Resolution 08-24, setting hearing date for alleyway vacation, 806 East University Street. Ben?
Yes, Ben Rhodes, this is following state statutes. The board needs to set the hearing date for future right-of-way closure. We're suggesting February 20th. We're available for any questions.
February 20th, is that what you said, Ben? Is that right? For the hearing date?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David?
Ben, why are we having to have a hearing on an alleyway? We usually don't do that, do we? Have a hearing?
Yeah, we have to set the hearing date. This is a typical standard practice.
I mean, I've seen other times that we've vacated alleys and we've just approved it.
That's when we have already set a hearing date, and then there's the ordinance. It goes 3 readings. So there's not an alleyway closure that we've done where we've not set the hearing date in advance.
Madam Mayor.
David, are you through?
Yeah, I'm done, yeah.
Lisa?
can you explain the whole process? So they go in, they fill out an application, and then what happens? You set a hearing date, and so is there a staff, I don't see a staff recommendation on here. Am I missing it?
We're not recommending one way or
Anything at
another
one-
at this
at this
point.
point?
We're just
Okay.
setting a hearing date. State statute says you have to set a hearing date for alleyway closure. So we do that in the next available board meeting after the application's filed.
Okay. What city ordinance do you have on here following Arkansas state statute, which I looked it up and I called down to Little Rock and got some information, which is 14301, 301 through 306. Can we start having that put on here so we know when we want to look up a state statute ourselves? Can we have staff put that on here so I don't have to call
Sure.
all over Little Rock to get
We
that
can add it to the
information?
memo if that's what you want.
Yeah. And what ordinance, can you tell me what city ordinance there is on alleyway closures?
Other than the subdivision regulations, there's not really any city ordinance. We pretty much go off of the state statutes.
Okay.
I mean, the subdivision regulations establish alleyways as part of a final plat.
Okay.
But
Do you know
there's
the
not-
number for the
Chapter 87,
chapter 87?
subdivision regulations.
Okay. Okay, I just want to, so the hearing goes to Planning Commission?
No, City Board of Directors.
Okay, good. So with that, I want to make sure every board of director understands what that state statute is. So I made a copy.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Chris.
Chris Paxton, I'm the Director of Community Development. I did want to also kind of bring up something on this. Before this item went through, we had a discussion about this type of vacation, this type of closure of an alleyway. I did want to clarify that through the beginning of the process as we move forward. So we actually have created a petition to vacate, which has gone through and is now part of our policy. There's an easier to use petition to vacate that clarifies what the state statute is on the petition to vacate. So the applicants in the future will have a copy of that. I did just want to state to the board that we do have new policy in place since this item came up that will help clarify that process in the future.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this resolution? If not, directors, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 08-24?
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Allen,
Did you say Alan? Yes?
Blair,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Resolution -0824 is adopted. Next is Resolution 09-24, Final Plat Development Permit, Castlewood Edition, 22,000 block of Davidson Road. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board again. We are considering a final plat permit, 22,000 block of Davidson Road, and this is to finalize the Castlewood subdivision, creating 100 new single-family lots, and also making improvements to Davidson Road from the subdivision going east to Country Club. So here we have the proposed development. This does match the approved preliminary plat. A performance bond was submitted for the completion of Davidson Road and the paving of the internal streets within the subdivision, which will be done weather permitting. And here's the site. Staff is recommending approval with the three needed conditions as stated in the staff report and resolution, and we're available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Directors, comments or questions? If there are none, is there anyone in the audience that has any comments or questions for Resolution 09-24? I will come back to the directors then. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, come to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Jeff Farmer, 21923 Davidson Road here in Siloam. Now, in reading the staff report here, I didn't really understand what a performance bond, maintenance bond, what a street impact fee, things like that, what this was. But I know that I don't know how it really affects me. I don't want to be a materialistic weasel, but I'm just kind of wondering, I know what an extra 100 family lots down west of me is going to do to the road that's out in front of my house in Davidson Road. And all the construction trucks and big vehicles that's been coming down the road or whatever for the last year, I don't really want to put up with the kind of traffic and dust and disruptions we had to go through last year. And this was supposed to be paved many moons ago, but it hasn't been touched or whatever. Now, I know there's some kind of problems there with easements and stuff, with right-of-way easements. And I know that I've signed mine. I'm signed off on mine. I'm just wondering how many other people has not signed off on it. And if the road can't be hard surfaced before, let's say, this year, I say not approve this plat permit until something gets settled as far as getting the road taken care of. Because the construction on the road now, if you go down the road now, it's nothing but potholes, washouts, and heavy traffic has just ruined the road. I mean, I think most of the road all went to Oklahoma whenever they were doing construction last year. So that's all I got to say to you. And I am not anti-progress. I am pro-progress, but I'd like to have maybe some dates and times whenever the road can be hard surfaced. Thank you.
Jeff. Thank you. Ben, can you answer any of those questions for him right now, or do we need to get back with him and give him those dates or figures?
I'll be able to address some of it.
Okay.
I do think Kevin Moore will probably address most of his comments. But just to be clear, our city code allows, in Chapter 87, allows for a performance bond. And so what a performance bond means is when the subdivision is not 100% ready to be dedicated to the public, say there's not a street paved or there's a water line that hasn't been put in yet, they can put up a bond that essentially allows them to continue doing the work while also being able to sell lots, because the final plat would have been approved. And the city, I believe, holds that bond until certain conditions are met, and then we would release that. But the bond protects those public infrastructure. So should something happen with a developer and they don't end up doing what they say they're going to do, we can use that bond to then complete whatever needed work is done. But I will defer the rest of that to Kevin. So,
Thank you, Ben. Kevin?
Kevin Moore, city engineer. That's exactly right. So a performance bond is basically surety for completion of the work. It allows the city, if the developer were to fail to complete the work that we approved it, assuming would happen, it allows the city to hire somebody to complete the work without any cost to the citizens. So that is put forward by the developer if they wish to complete early. The maintenance bond is kind of similar. It's basically warrantying the public improvements for a period of 2 years. And then if anything fails, we contact the developer. And if they refuse to fix it for some reason, or they're unable to fix it for some reason, then the city can, again, at no cost to the citizens, hire somebody to do that work or fix it ourselves and recover materials, things like that. The street impact fee that Mr. Farmer brought up, that is a calculation in the master street plan based off of the amount of traffic we expect to see per single-family lot. There's a cost associated with that. I believe it's about $250 per single-family building permit. And then I'd like the developer to speak to the timeline for the road and any maybe remaining people that are needed to sign off for the right-of-way. Because I don't have answers on those questions other than the road itself is included in the performance bond as well.
And is the developer here tonight? Mr. Holmeyer.
Ron Holmeyer, Civil Engineering, 701 South Mount Olive. I'm representative for the developer, let's put it that way. As of last week, we secured all of the right-of-way dedications that are necessary to complete the street improvements from this project over to Country Club. And now we are working with the county to get their approval to actually work on their roadway. Even though the city's requiring it, it's still their roadway. They will maintain it, so they have the final say as to when we can start. And once they approve the bond value, I'm certain we'll be able to get started probably within a week or two, but obviously weather will determine a lot of that. But their intent is to get it done as soon as we can get everything in lined up and get it started.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Directors? Yes, David.
Madam Mayor, thank you. I just had a question. I understand where Mr. Farmer's coming from. I had also thought that the street would be paved before now, but I read that it's going to, at least the thought was to not pave it until the street in the addition was being paved. Is that right, Ron? Or is the street going to be paved first? I mean, most of the dirt work has been done, correct?
The curb is in, the base has been tested, it's ready for asphalt and subdivision, and of course, we had an Arctic blast, so we haven't been able to get a contractor to come pave it. At this point, I don't know if they're going to go ahead and do the streets internally right away, or if they're going to wait and do it all at one time.
From reading it, I seem to think that maybe it was going to be held until the addition streets were put in, but maybe not. I don't know why I had thought that it was talked about at one time to do it early, but that really wouldn't have made any sense because of the amount of trucks driving on it. The other question I just had with 100 homes, and Ron, you probably can answer this, is this planned to be on sewer or septic?
It is on city sewer. There's a lift station that's being completed that will pump this back into the city system there in Dura Park system.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam
Ron.
Mayor?
Yes, Mindy.
I guess I'm a little unclear. So it will be paved before the trucks that Mr. Farmer's concerned about making dirt fly up all over the place start coming through, or we don't know yet?
It will be paved when we get, make sure this is picking me up. I didn't think it was. The plan is to pave all of it. The plan is once we get approval from the county to go to work on the road to widen it and then make it according to the specs of the plans and their specs, we will do that, which involves grading, bringing in the base, and then getting the asphalt down. That is the last major construction phase of this. There will be a lot of dump trucks bringing asphalt in to do the streets and to do this roadway. And so until that is completed, yes, there will be traffic up and down that gravel road.
And causing some of the same issues that have
Sure. I
been
mean,
a concern? Okay. Yeah.
The gravel road held up admirably well for the truck traffic it's had.
Okay.
But it has required continuous maintenance. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I understood, because I thought you'd said at first that it might be starting within the next week or two, but then it,
The grading portion of
Okay,
it, to get
okay.
it ready for the asphalt.
okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone
Madam-
else?
Madam Mayor?
Betsy?
And I'm not sure who this is for, so that we don't have a repeat for the people who live out there. I know, like, they were supposed to go through and wet the road so there wasn't all the dust. I mean, was that done, Mr. Farmer? Did that help?
That was done when it was requested, so it was, I can't complain about that. That was taken care of.
So if it becomes an issue, maybe we could stay on top of that. I mean, the other, if I'm remembering, and it's been a while, the other issues had to do with drainage too, which now my understanding is drainage work has to be done at the beginning, right, Kevin?
Kevin Moore, city engineer. That's correct. And I believe part of what you're recalling is some of the discussions around the drainage for Mission Hill the subdivision just to the east of this. I don't believe there have been any drainage concerns with this subdivision, with Castlewood itself.
Okay. I was just trying to think of what can we do to make it better and move forward, so, yeah.
Madam Mayor?
The asphalt pavement will do away with the dust problem. I
Yeah.
promise.
Thank you.
I was just
Yes,
going
David.
to ask Ron, so you guys, the developer is going to be working with the county on the street, the county approving the paving and everything?
County has approved the plans, they've approved the project, they just need a bond amount, they just need to approve the bond amount so we can get them a performance bond and so that we can go to work.
The only problem on this street, and I drive this weekly, is going down that hill towards, two cars cannot meet on the incline just before you get to, is it Country Club?
Country Club, yes.
As you go right over the incline, that it just narrows, very, very narrow, and gutters, culverts, whatever, on each side that are always being dug deeper with bad rains. But I was just hoping the county will work with you guys to make sure that that is widened properly right there to allow good traffic.
The main reason we had to get additional right-of-way was through that area. We are having to meet their minimum standard of 20 foot of asphalt with a 4-foot gravel shoulder on each side, and then room for the ditches in addition to that. So you're looking at about 15 feet now, and it'll expand out to 28 feet from edge to base to edge of base.
Thank you, Ron.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ken.
Mr. Farmer, have your questions been adequately answered?
Have your questions been adequately answered?
Here's the reason I'm asking, is it seems like you were concerned about the maintenance of the dirt until the pavement is in, and I haven't really heard anything.
It is a real mess right now.
Right, and I haven't really heard anything to address that. Would that be just extra grading that would need to be done? Because I know the county will come out when it's requested.
The county enjoys grading out there. They love
I'm sure
cutting,
they
but they
do.
don't care anything about putting anything back in.
Right.
When you have holes, you may fill them with grading, but it doesn't do anything as far as making it hard surface, a dirt road, keeping it flat or keeping it to where it's not going to tear out the bottom end of a Corvette or whatever. But I know that's a rather labored metaphor right there, but I know that it's very, very, now, me, I live up the hill. I don't have as many potholes to dodge as the folks which lives on down towards, to the west of me, towards Castlewood. And I do know for sure, and I don't really, except for watering the road down, we have had zero maintenance of any of that road out there since all these big heavy trucks and stuff has been going through there. 10-wheel dump trucks, 18-wheel dump trucks, or 18-wheel trucks that'll bring in equipment, heavy equipment, excavators and backhoes and things like that. And nothing has been done to actually make that road passable for the landowners that actually live out there on that road. And there's one thing I would like to bring up. I didn't hear anything about Ron saying the easements have been recorded with Benton County. I didn't hear anything about that, but I don't think I asked anything about that either. But I'd like to know if those deeds or those easements that we've signed off on has been recorded at Benton County. Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Ron Holmeyer, Civil Engineering again. Yes, those have all been recorded. I recorded the last one today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Here's my
Jeff?
question, Kevin or Ben or Chris. The maintenance, I understand what he's asking. Until the construction of the road, it's not going to be good. But that's in the county, right? And so is that the county's responsibility then to maintain that during this period? And it would just take calls to them to make sure that that's done?
Yes, I believe that's correct. And I will mention that the paving of Davidson Road was a condition of approval for the preliminary plat. Staff's recommendation is based on the performance bond covering that being enough to continue to move it forward, but that would be up to the board's discretion if you wished to approve it with it unpaved.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Mindy.
so you said that we approved the preliminary plat with the condition that that road had to be paved, like by this point,
That's correct. It was a condition of approval for the preliminary plat.
and it's not paved?
Correct.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Chris, do we have things set up on protocol to give information out to owners such as Mr. Farmer as things progress, where they can be updated on a regular basis, or how do we keep them informed?
So if they were to call and ask us, then, or provide some contact information, then we can definitely keep them informed to the best of our ability. A lot of the times we find out after, as we are updated just from the applicants too. So whenever we have these projects that are in the county, sometimes we're a little bit later to find out, but we can do our best to relay some information. We do have, I'm not sure if this specific project has status updates on our website. Kevin might be able to speak about the status update portion of our website.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't want to hold up progress for this developer. I know they've already invested a lot of time and money. Mr. Holmeyer's already invested a lot of time, lots of other people have. But if we approve the preliminary plat on the condition that they needed to have that road paved, I don't know if we can table this and we can get more information about just what their plan is. To me, that's sort of an important thing. If they agreed that they were going to do that and it's not done, maybe we need to get more information before we move forward. So I would like to make a motion that we table this.
Madam Mayor, if I may, if we could set a date to the table to maintain the public notice chain, that would be preferred.
Would the next meeting be too soon?
I would hazard a guess at least a month would be, I think, feasible.
Perhaps the first meeting in March?
Yeah, I believe that's fair.
My motion is to table this until the first meeting of March.
Do I have?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Ron, how does that affect your project as tabling it? I just want to understand both sides of it, because I understand that I'm like Mindy, we said that we would have it paved. How's this affecting your project?
Ron Holmeyer, Civil Engineering again. I don't think it's going to speed up the paving of the roadway in any form or fashion by tabling this. The performance bond is, in my mind, no different for what's interior to the property as what's off-site to the property. I don't know, because the conditions in the resolution were that we had to have a maintenance bond posted before we could file the plat, and we had to have the utility service agreement signed before they could file the plat. So it's not like we can run out tomorrow and record the plat anyway. But like I said, tabling this a month and a half, 2 months, it's not going to speed up the work that's going to be done on the roadway in any form or fashion. We've got steps we've got to go through, then they've got to actually build it, which will take, I don't even know how long. I haven't talked to the contractor to find out, but.
But we might be able to get some timelines, a little bit more definite timelines.
Well, if you just want more definite timelines, we don't need to wait till March. We can get you that in 2 weeks.
Well, and that was my question, whether we needed 2 or 4 weeks. Because I don't want to postpone it a long time. But I'd rather delay than say no tonight, because it's a delay either way.
Well, your ordinance allows the performance bond option, and that's the reason they've taken that path. So it's disappointing that you're even tabling it, since
Okay.
they've gone to the expense of putting up the performance bond. But if that's your desire, that's
And
fine.
I may not understand the performance bond very well.
Well, it's-
So how does the performance bond pave the road?
It is a financial guarantee that if they don't pave the road, you can call the bond, hire a contractor, and have the road paved.
Okay.
On their behalf. I think that's my understanding of how they work.
Okay.
And I believe that is exactly correct. City
I
can call that.
can
Ron.
rescind the motion to table. Or we can just vote it down.
Yeah, I still have questions, so.
Okay, okay.
So it's a county road, and I hate putting you in this position because you're wearing multiple hats tonight.
Right.
Because you are JP, and I know the position you're in. Is there anything the county can do as far as helping with the dust issue, or is that between the developer and?
The dust, the county is not going to be able to do anything for that I'm aware of. The county has been out there numerous times making repairs at the intersections and making repairs on the job from what I can see and what I've been told by the contractor. But, yeah, they're going to continue to maintain. If they get calls, they're going to do what they can to take care of it. But, I can't call.
Right,
It's conflict of interest for me to call about it,
right.
even though it's in my district.
So the road has to be wet you can wet in the road and still put the road in? Explain that area, because now we're just in rain. We don't have the ice and the snow so how does that affect the project?
There are parts of town where rain will set you back for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, so
On
you
that
can't do
hill-
anything to it with the
On that
rain?
hill, where it's primarily hillside material,
Mhm.
they can work on the slope the day after it rains. It'll be okay. The flat areas on top, there's a place or two that might be too wet to work on the next day, but it's not going to slow them down a whole lot, especially with the contractor we're working with.
Okay. And our ordinance, and it's the ordinance that been referred to, I have it written down over here. That's the ordinance that says that we can use a bond.
Correct.
Okay. It would be so much more convenient if we had this documentation in front of us. When there's an ordinance, let us know what that ordinance is. If there's a state statute, let us know what that state statute is. So it helps us understand, and we can read it and make decisions based off of it. Because like Mindy, I'm like Mindy, I didn't understand what that bond meant, but that makes sense. So we can ask those questions before we're sitting in here.
Sure.
So, thank you, Ron.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
I do recall what you were saying, Mindy, that we had been told that the street would be paved during the preliminary plat. It did not get done, and I kind of see from the developer's point of view that it's a little difficult to bring in asphalt and paving equipment and everything to do the street, and then a year later to bring it in for the streets of the housing addition. So I kind of think maybe the thought was doing it all at once was possible, so.
And like I say, I don't want to delay the progress here. I felt like we were kind of wanting some more information about when this was going to happen, but it did help very much when you explained what the performance bond was. So I think probably at this point I should rescind my motion to table.
Okay.
And I'll
Can I
rescind my
the
second.
Okay. That motion has been rescinded, and the second?
I would like to say, Mr. Farmer, we do appreciate you speaking up, and we want to hear from citizens, so please don't let this discourage you from speaking up or anybody else. This helps us understand the process more.
So with that, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 09-24, Final Plat Development Permit?
So
moved. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Resolution 09-24 is adopted. Thank you. And thank you, Jeff, for being here. Next item is Resolution 10-24, Final Plat Development Permit, Foxtail Village Subdivision, 600 to 900 block of Highway 16. Ben?
Yes, thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the board. So this is another final plat. This is finalizing the Foxtail Village edition. It's for 56 single-family residential lots on 31.4 acres at the 600 to 900 block of Highway 16, as you see on the map there. This is associated, there's been no changes from the preliminary plat approval. So here we have the entire property that was shown with the PD zoning that went through a couple of years ago, the different areas. We're just talking about the area right down here for the subdivision. And then, of course, here's the final plat with the access on East Jan Street, which goes into the Eastgate subdivision. So they will have a new connection coming back out to Highway 16 with a cul-de-sac coming off and then another connection down to the south on 16. So again, this matches the preliminary plat that was approved. Performance bond has been provided to complete the remaining work of the subdivision, and that is street paving and some of the utilities. This is an updated landscape plan for the trees along Highway 16. The plan development required that with the PD zone required that the applicant provide trees along Highway 16. However, RDOT did not permit that within their right-of-way, so as a workaround, the applicant has shifted those to the side yards of the lots within the subdivision proper. And with that, staff doesn't really have any issues with that arrangement. And here you see the site view. Staff is recommending approval with two needed conditions as stated in the staff memo and resolution. And we're available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And directors, before I move to ask you for any comments on this, our last motion to approve Resolution 09-24 did not include with listed conditions in the motion. I would just like to make sure that we are all aware of that and that you approve us adding that wording to that resolution or to that motion. Whoever made that first and second? Yes?
Make sure it's
Was it me and,
included.
was it me and Mindy that made the motion and second? I can't
Yes,
remember.
it
Yes, that's what we have.
We did.
Did
both
it
the
need to
first-
say that, or?
My understanding is that we do need to place that as part of the motion with listed conditions so that it is in the record, that you all did approve those conditions.
I mean, I thought that's what it was when we
Yes,
were,
that's what
Yeah.
I was.
So-
Yeah.
Yes.
we were told about them, so
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought it was part of the motion.
But we're good with that, if that is included as part of the wording in the motion. Okay. All right, so we will move on then to this Resolution 10-24. Any comments or questions? David?
Ben, on the picture you've got here, the housing we see on the south section, is there any idea what is planned for the north section? It looks like on one picture, like there's some greenery, but I didn't know if that's supposed to be a park or.
Yes, so if in the PD zone district, we rezoned this to PD.
Plan
They had a plan development, that's correct. They had a park, like a kind of a regional type park that would be for the future residents. I do believe they were going to do some multifamily up there. However, that might not happen. And if that's the case, they will amend the zone district to change that. So, but that's the plans as of now officially for the property.
Because it says future development, so. Would that come back to us for something else later?
Correct, yeah. Any future development, whether it's a preliminary plat or large-scale development, would have to come back before the board and planning
Yeah, the
commission.
picture that we have actually has like trees and says walking trail. So maybe,
Yes.
maybe they'll do that, maybe they won't.
Yeah, and that was all part of the zoning ordinance that allows for the development as presented.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, is
So
there?
the only
I'm sorry.
difference on that, this is Foxtail Village, and the other one is just Foxtail, right? The one south?
Yes, so originally they wanted to call this Foxtail as well, but we had them add the village or they changed the name because it would get confusing which Foxtail you were talking about,
Definitely.
since they're in different areas.
Yeah,
So
they're not
that-
connected.
That's why they call it Foxtail Village, just to
Okay.
distinguish from the other Foxtail. Yeah.
Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to Resolution 10-24? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 10-24 with listed conditions for the final plat, Foxtail Village?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next is Resolution 11-24, Final Plat Development Permit, Blackberry Estates Edition, 1300 to 1800 block of North Dogwood Street. Ben?
Yes, the last one, last final plat we got. So, yeah, this is a 1800 block of North Dogwood. This is the Blackberry Estates, 12 large single-family lots on nearly 20 acres. It's on, as you can see on the map there, it's on the east side of North Dogwood, but south of Villaview. Here we have the plat as presented. This does match the preliminary plat. There is a performance bond submitted for the completion of the sanitary sewer improvements, as well as, I believe, some work on the outlet structure for the detention pond. And here is the property. Staff is recommending approval with the two standard conditions as stated in the staff report and resolution, and we're available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Directors?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll just say, I've seen an awful lot of housing additions come before this board over the years. I've never seen one like this, ever. When I wanted to develop my property, I couldn't do 2 lot splits. Now, it's changed. We've changed those rules this year, but 8 or 9 years ago, we couldn't do that. And that's what this looks like. This looks like 12 lot splits. Because I don't see a street with infrastructure to access these inside lots. I see a driveway that goes to lot 4 and 9, but I don't see an access for lot 10. And I believe the preliminary plat had a driveway coming off of the highway for lot 3 in the northeast corner. And that driveway is going to be coming onto Highway 43, right near the intersection of Villaview and North Mount Olive. I don't see sidewalks. I mean, it's just odd. The little box says sidewalks will be constructed across frontage of public property. Well, what's public property? It looks all like private property to me. By the developer, the sidewalks will be constructed across frontage of all lots by the home builder. I have thought we required sidewalks for every housing addition that's being put in, but not this one. So I don't quite understand how this one is being treated differently than other housing additions are. Can we get an explanation for that?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer those questions. So regarding the access, there is a center access here that will be access. These lots actually go out to the road, so they will have independent drives to the streets. There's also
But it's not a street, right?
not a street. These are private driveways. So there's not a lot that's landlocked. They're all having access from either Sherry Whitlock Parkway or North Dogwood Street. And I believe in this one case, it does have the connection out onto North Mount Olive. The sidewalks are constructed with the homes. This is standard practice for any subdivision. The sidewalks do not come in initially. They come in when the houses are being built. And that would be no different with this subdivision. They would be going along the public streets, so it would be up along the side, Dogwood, and then all the way across there. So anything that's fronting along public right-of-way would be where the sidewalks would be required to be built.
Why would we not require a street with a cul-de-sac to be built down through the middle of this as we would any other housing addition this size? I know we need estate lots, so don't get me wrong. These are estate lots, they're over an acre, that's what is needed, there's a big shortage of that. However, it just seems really odd that there's no real street for this entire addition.
As long as they can show access to a street, they do not have to put in a cul-de-sac or another public improvement. So usually when you have a larger subdivision or one with smaller lots, you do have to put in streets to get access to all those lots. But in this case, the streets are such that they don't necessarily have to do that. So they're not desiring the access to put in a street as part of the development.
Have we ever done this before, Ben? Any other
We've
housing?
done similar ones where they've split off. There was one off actually on Davidson Road not too long ago that created about 6 or 7 of these lots that all accessed off of Davidson Road.
But Davidson Road's not in the city limits.
No, but I mean, we would have allowed similar type developments. As long as they have access to a street, you can do that. Another one would be Fox, the one on, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's the one on Lake Francis Drive, just to the west of the Sacred Creek crossing. They had lots that all fronted out onto Lake Francis.
But aren't those multifamily housing?
No, they're single family.
This just seems really, really strange that the only substitute for a street is a driveway that doesn't have a turnaround at the end. It is only for 2 homes, and it won't be a dedicated street to the city. It just seems very, very odd and almost like we're making exceptions because of the need for estate lots. I don't quite get it. Just like the big one in the southeast corner, the 2.74 acres, that does not have frontage except through the narrow, tiny strip on Sherry Whitlock Parkway, which is kind of an odd zigzag. It just seems weird. I would have thought we would have required this to have the same as any other. I mean, this is 14 lots, isn't it? So I don't quite get why we're not requiring the same thing we would for all other housing additions of this size.
Madam Mayor?
David, are you?
completed, David?
You too?
Yep.
Yep. Reed?
I know we have seen this before. I know in the industry I work in, we call that a flagpole property, to where you have the driveway to the actual property. And we do have a few of those in town. I don't think we've seen it to where we've had 12 of them come in, or 12 lots come in, but flagpole property is something we have.
Well, that's why I said it looks very much like 12 or 13 lot splits rather than a housing addition. The ones on the west side, all coming out onto Dogwood, seems like it's going to be putting an awful lot of traffic, not number of cars, but a number of access driveways. The addition right across the street, it was required to put a cul-de-sac. Of course, the ones to the east, the Hunter Ridge and the Deerfield, have been there for many years. But there's an awful lot of places around town that could have done exactly like this. And I don't believe our city planning department would have allowed it to happen. So I'm surprised that it's being approved.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Mindy?
Now that Reed has mentioned the term flagpole property, I've worked with a couple of flagpole properties in Ward 1. So I know there's one over not too far up in North Side on Wright Street, and I believe there's one on College. So, yeah, it's not completely unprecedented, maybe not to this scale.
12
Yeah, that's why I say not to this scale. That I'm aware of, I'm just talking about the ones that I'm aware of, they were serviced.
Where will, I assume these will all be on city sewer. Where's the sewer line going to be? If there's not a street,
Kevin Moore, city engineer. The sewer line runs up through the east side of the property, just kind of east of center, if memory serves. And then all the lots front on an existing street.
what was that last part, Kevin?
All the lots front on an existing street.
Well, that's not true. The ones on the east side don't front on a street. Lots 4 and 9 do not front on a street. Lot 10 does not front on a street.
They have access to a public street.
Lots 4 and 9 do not. There is a driveway being built to them. That is not a street.
Their driveway will access the public street.
So all of a sudden, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the main driveway you're talking about, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 new driveways coming onto Dogwood Street, where right now there are 2 streets, Scout Trail and Avery. That just seems like an awful lot of strange lot splits to me.
Ron, did you have something you wanted to say?
Ron Homer, Civil Engineering, 701 South Mount Olive. I didn't want to jump ahead on the public comment side, but the code allows driveways every, is it 75 feet on Collector's Bend? On Center. And these lots are almost double that width, so even though there's going to be several more driveways, they exceed the minimum separation that the code requires. Lot 4 and 9, their property actually has frontage on Dogwood Street and the flagpole that Carol was referring to. So they do front on Dogwood, even though they have to go back 300 and almost 400 feet to get to the property. 3 of these lots, you use a small piece of property to get out to a public roadway, but the reasoning for doing the lots of this size, they were just taking advantage of the 3 existing streets. I mean, the only thing better would have been a piece of property with all 4 sides with a road, and then you could take advantage of those. There's an existing sewer that ran most of the way up Dogwood Street. The developer extended that all the way up to the corner of Dogwood and Villaview. We brought a sewer line down on, I believe, on Lot 9's flagpole part, and then, and then turned and went north to provide sewer for Lot 3. So some of the sewer was there and some was added. And as far as sidewalks, the public is the intent is to dedicate the detention basin on Lot 13 to the city. So the sidewalk along the frontage of Lot 13 on both Sherry Whitlock and Dogwood has already been constructed. Just wanted to clarify that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. David?
The only dangerous thing I see truly is that access driveway coming onto the highway near that intersection on Lot 3. But whoever buys Lot 3, if they want to have a driveway that they got to be doing 40 miles an hour when they leave the driveway, leave it to them. That's fine.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor?
Betsy?
I had a question. With the way it's set up, will there be any issues for emergency vehicles since there aren't city streets, emergency vehicles getting in and out and turning around?
Chief Miller?
Scott Miller, Chief of Police. I don't believe there will be any issues with the emergency vehicles based on what we've seen. I know that, I don't want to speak for Chief Kreiner, but I believe that Chief Kreiner and the fire marshal have also reviewed these with no concerns as far as egress and regress of emergency personnel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else?
How wide is the place where there's going to be driveways? Is it going to be the width of a street?
Ron Holmeyer again. Are you talking about between 3 and 9 or whatever that was?
The so-called driveways for 4 and 9.
Yeah, that's already in place. It is, I want to say it's about 30 feet wide before it drops, before the banks start on each side, and the actual paved portion is going to be 16 or 20 feet, something like that, which it meets or exceeds the city's minimum for a driveway.
But it is not going to be appropriate for a fire truck to get to the end and turn around.
It will support, it is structurally sufficient to support the truck to get to the back, and I would expect that they're going to have opposing driveways going to the 2 different houses, and so that would be perform as a standard hammerhead.
It certainly seems like it should have been scheduled for a cul-de-sac end simply because of the requirement for fire trucks. The driveway that comes in for Lot 10 also, you just don't want to have any problem with depending that a fire truck has to extend 2 miles of hose in that they are supposed to be able to get down and turn around where it couldn't be, the street couldn't be so many feet long because of the length of a fire truck having to get to a home. And if this is not wide enough for a truck to go to the end, I just don't want future problems that people end up suing the city because we approve this, because this is an exception on a housing addition that we've never approved anything like this. with this number of lots and this kind of really weird way to get to the back lots. When we approved the preliminary plat, I thought I understood that that was a street. And so I didn't question it at the time.
David, anything else?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Reed?
I don't think we're making an exception with this, since we already do have flagpole properties. I know the ones that I have worked with, 30 feet was the width, but if it was going to be for public access, I think 30 feet was what our statutes state.
Well, I thought I understood 30 feet, but 16 paved. That's what I thought I just heard. 16 paved. Is that right? Is that what did I hear wrong?
Okay, Ron Holmeyer again. The actual property that is where the driveway is constructed is 50 feet, 50 feet total. So there's 50-foot shared driveway access, 25 on each lot. The actual road surface, the flat part on top, is at least 30 feet wide in that 50 feet. And then the driveway with the hard surface that they will build on top of that, the asphalt, concrete, probably concrete, would be at least 16 feet wide, which I think meets or exceeds the city's minimum for a driveway.
You're saying from the end of this to the home, is the 16 foot? Is that what you're saying?
Was it 16, John?
I don't think it matters, but, yeah.
Something like that. Whatever the minimum city code is for a driveway, it will be met or exceeded.
Well, it matters if you have to have a fire truck be able to turn around. And that's why I'm asking the numbers.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Mindy?
are you done, David?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Just like I was concerned that we had stated something that we were requiring for the development along Davidson, I feel like now we're in a situation where we approved a preliminary plat without a lot of questions, and so I feel like we need to move forward with this. I do think that there may be some people here that might have some comments, so I would be interested in hearing. But I like to be able to go with what we've said, if possible.
Thank you, Mindy. Directors, anyone else?
Well, I'll just repeat that I did not believe when we brought this forward in a preliminary plat that we would ever have any city staff approve or planning commission approve a housing addition that did not have a street. So I couldn't help but assume that that was a street going east and west in the very middle to access lots that are not fronted on a street. You got to understand, we get an 8.5 by 11, and my glasses are as good as they can get to read the tiny little print on these things. And I guess that's what I get for assuming that that was a street in the beginning. But I assumed it because I thought certainly we would not have something like this come up for this many lot splits with no actual street. But I completely agree with you, Mindy, we have to approve it.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience? Ben?
Just point of clarification.
Yes, sir.
On driveway widths, I brought my code here. The minimum is 12 feet and the maximum is 30 feet for residential driveways.
Thank you for that, Ben. Appreciate that. So is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this resolution, 11-24? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and give us your name and address.
My name is Dick Boland. My wife Lydia is with me here mainly because we found something we agreed on. Our property is back-to-back with the subject property here, and I wanted to offer a compliment and attaboy to the people that are running the project there, especially the construction excavating company. Everything they do is clean, neat, timely, quiet. They respect the property of the surrounding owners. I don't know the name of the company. I never talked to any of them, but I watch them over since I'm retired. I just sit out there and watch them over my fence. And it's just, it's an exceptional group. Everything they do is neat, clean. They respect your weekends, your Sundays. They don't start early. They don't stay late. It's just whatever construction company that is very well managed and does excellent work.
Thank you, Vic. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Can we get the name of the construction company, just so we can put it in public record?
Ron
John?
or Kevin, can you give us that name? No?
Oh, okay.
No?
I will,
Mike's wife's good. Okay, thank you.
I will echo what Mr. Bolin said. I've seen it weekly, and they have done a very clean and nice job on dirt work, and everything that they have done has been very professional.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Chris Paxton, I'm
Yes,
the
Chris.
Director of Community Development. I needed to clarify one statement that was made by the senior planner. The width for a residential driveway is 12 feet in a residential area. However, this is a shared access drive, and the minimum width for a shared access drive is 18 feet, not 12 feet.
Thank you. So with that, directors, any more comments or questions from you?
I will just echo once again, I don't care how wide a driveway is supposed to be. If we're not having an actual street that a fire truck can go and turn around, I have a real problem. And I think it is something that I really wish we had a fire department representative to tell us if they've actually reviewed this and looked at it and made sure that this is not going to be a problem for a ladder truck.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
the fire marshal's office is a part of our technical advisory review committee, and they do provide input and statements on all of our submittals. They have reviewed this plat and provided input. That's all I have.
Thank you. So with that, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 11-24 with listed conditions?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt.
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Smiley.
Did you say me?
Yes. Wiles.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Resolution 11-24 for the final plat on North Dogwood Street is approved. Thank you all very much for your input and your information. At this time, then, we will move to our staff reports that will include the fourth quarter nonprofit reports and our administrator's report. So, Alan, I will turn the floor over to you.
Oh, thank you. History Museum, I didn't see anyone from there you are. If you want to give your report.
Mary Nolan with the Siloam Springs Museum, and it's good to be back here once again for a quarterly report. You have the report, and if there's any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer those. A few of our highlights this year was offering a exhibit and a time to meet Troy Anderson, Native American artist from the area who is very well known, very well respected, and that was a real fun evening. We enjoyed that. April, we have the quilt show during the Dogwood Festival. It's the Dogwood Quilters each year. They come in with kind of a different type of quilt, and that gets a lot of attention. We did hire a social media assistant, and thank God, because he's able to do Facebook and a lot of things, and I think that's really improved. That's something that I'll never learn, but anyway, he's doing a great job. September, we had our Walls Talk event with the Easterbrook and Selby home, which was a great historic time, and we learned a lot about them and all the things that they've done in our community. In October, we had Tap into History. We learned about moonshine in the Ozarks, and that moonshine was the prelude to the NASCAR. So if you need to know more about that, let me know. December, during the Christmas parade, we had an open house, and we had the plein air exhibit. The artists, we had that show go on through January, so we had a great time before the parade. And I tell you, it was fun to have an event before the parade. We were crowded and everything, and man, parade time, it was empty. They got going down for that. And in April, we did have 5 new board members join us. This year, I know sometimes you like to know kind of what we have planned, not just what we've done. So this year, our plans, we have partnered with the Amazium. They have a children's program coordinator who's going to be coming and helping us do some things. So Kids Day is going to be at the museum, and the Amazium is going to come on February 24th, April 13th, November 2nd, and December 7th to do some different types of things. One is paper quilling, weaving, tinkering with tops. Actually, the kids will learn to make their own spinning top, and some needlework. Kids Day at the Farmers Market will also include the Amazium. So we'll have the Amazium and the museum and the library all together at those events this year. We'll be attending the Fourth Friday events and the Amazium again as a PR tool for them. They plan on coming and participating in that. Pardon me. The next event we have planned is Mr. Steve Garrett. He grew up in Eastern Oklahoma, and he has a podcast called Within the Realm. But one of the things he does is he presents just different talks on things, and one is called The Endangered Ozark Giraffe. And I don't know if you knew that we had giraffes in our town. It's actually a giraffe house. Those little multicolored brown stone houses with the white around the stone is just really kind of something in the Ozarks, and you don't find very many places. So March 2nd, he's going to be coming to the museum to present that. And we'd like to know if anybody that has a giraffe house would like to participate in this and just kind of share their story with us. We would love to hear that. We plan on having a Heritage Festival June 22nd. Stay tuned for some more information. One thing we plan to have is, if you've noticed lately, there's a lot of collectors that are showing things on Facebook, which is really neat. We've got a lot of historians in our town, official and unofficial. So they're sharing those. So we hope to have a section where we have a collector's fair and people can see different things from the past. So that's kind of it. I would like to do one thing, and I know probably everybody here is going to do that at the end, but during a Wednesday morning meeting of the Main Street organization, Stacy Morris mentioned that we were getting ready to have a really deep freeze, and what were people going to do that didn't have a place to go? So the people that were at that meeting tossed out some ideas and didn't have anything that sounded like it would work. Heather Lanker says, I could offer Arch and Axe. And I think you all know the story of what's happened and how well this community came together and took care of that. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to those ladies for just one statement. You know, I'll offer Arch and Axe. And 30 people were able to take part and find a place to get warm during the cold season. So we have a great community, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Mary. If there are
Nothing?
none, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Main Street, I talked to Miss Stacy, that's who I was texting earlier. She was trying to be here, but if you don't know, she lost her mom on January 15th, and she's just now trying to get back to work. So she emailed her report to you, and at a later time, I'll get her to come in. But if you have any questions, please email her back or when she's able to come in. But, you know, it's our prayers and our hearts are out to her. We know how tough that is, so she will not be here tonight. And moving on to Arthur, just real quick, I think he's already given his report, but he's here for questions if you have it.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, City Board. I gave a detailed report last meeting we had. A lot of great things going on. So for the sake of respecting everyone's time, I probably won't repeat it, but I am available for questions.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you. All right, then to my report, expenditures over $30,000. The first one is $40,696.77 at Waste Quip, a 14.6 cubic yard, 16.8 cubic yard front load dumpsters, solid waste. Second one, $41,700, Superior Automotive, a 2023 Dodge Ram 1500 4x4 for streets and infrastructure. The third, another one, $41,700, Superior Automotive for 2023 Dodge Ram 1500 4x4 for the Streets Division. Questions there? If not, moving on. Just little things to report. There will be a town hall meeting on the potential gasification center February 27th in this boardroom from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the reasons we have to do that is required by the grant that we are applying for. It gives our citizens a time to come in and we explain what gasification is. They're able to give us feedback and questions, concerns, things like that. So again, that's February 27th. And it's quick, I'm sorry for that, but when we're going through this grant the last couple weeks, the grant is due April 1st, which our deadline is March 25th, so we're trying to get a lot of that done. In the meantime, we also had the National League of Cities that has offered their assistance in the grant to assist our grant coordinator at no cost to the city. So we appreciate them. This Friday, we'll start a 6-week line dancing series begins at Park and Recreation Office at 6:30. An 8-week beginner yoga series starts next Monday at 6:30 p.m. Also, Parks and Recreation Office will have Zumba classes to continue at the community building Tuesdays and Thursdays. And just know for some citizens that this 6-week line dancing, that is something the instructor has offered and doing it for free at no cost to the city. They offered their services. And hopefully this will make people happy. The long-awaited delivery of recycling bins came in today. So they'll be available to pick up at the transfer station, one recycle bin per customer. And the last, I wanted to start by telling Director Rissler, I'm sorry for your loss. I know she's been dealing with a lot, losing her aunt and also her grandmother being in the hospital. I know today I was talking to her, making funeral arrangements, and just again, our thoughts and prayers are with you also. And then some good news, congratulations to, I don't know if they're calling you grandmother. I mean, everybody's got these different names. See, I'm already getting in trouble by that right there,
He
but
hasn't
congratulations on your
decided yet.
grandchild.
He'll get to decide, I guess.
But congratulations on your grandchild.
Thank you.
And I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Appreciate
Turn it
that
back
very
over
much.
to you.
Thank you. So before I turn this over to the directors, I've got a couple of things. First of all, thank you to our staff, to you. Everyone that works for this city was willing and put out a tremendous amount of effort over this last Arctic blast that we had. And it's not an easy task. It's not a job that I want to do, I can tell you that right now. So thank you all for what you do for our citizens and to make this town a great place to live. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Mayor, and if I can, you
yes.
know, and a big thank you. We knew this staff did an incredible job during this freeze and cold front. I appreciate the citizens being patient because we had a lot going on and we knew when things were beginning to thaw, the pipes were going to unthaw, so we were going to have leaks. And just the crews getting out there, because if you ever worked when it's cold outside and you're dealing with water, that is cold. And just to our, just our first responders and everyone, the electric department, they did an amazing job. And I hate we had to close yesterday, but first thing yesterday morning, our prayers to one of our officers slipped and fell on the ice and had to be taken to Washington with a possible brain injury. We did get good news that he was released last night, that he had a brain bleed, but it looks like it's healing on his own. But when you have things like that, you have to put, and I like what Director David told me, is just, safety first. And to me, it was the best safety for our, our workforce. We stayed home yesterday, but first responders and others were still out working, so I appreciate them. So I thought I was done, Mayor, but I think I am now. But a big thank you to
Absolutely.
everyone.
Well said. That is something that we need to be mindful of. It's a hard job, so we appreciate that. The other, I do want to extend my condolences to Lisa. It's the loss of loved ones, and to Stacy. It's a hard time and not an easy thing. We all have to deal with that, but our prayers and thoughts go out to you. During this cold weather, I think that it serves us well to remember that we do have people out there that need help, that be sure that you check on your neighbors. I am very thankful that we had some place that our homeless could go during this time, and that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to manage and to handle. And just remember, we have also Genesis House, who is here all the time, Manna Center, who is here all the time, to help those people that need help and to help them find a way to get on their feet and to move forward in their life. And so if you hear someone that's needing help, please be sure and reach out, help them get that information for those organizations, that is what they do and what they are trained to do. The other is, sometimes I assume things and I shouldn't, so I'm not going to assume. I'm going to make sure that I remind all the directors that we do have our annual statement of financial interest that must be filed by January 31st. In case you have not gotten a reminder from the municipal clerk or from the county clerk, I did receive that, and I want to make sure that you all are aware of that. And if you need to get information, I'll be glad to forward that to Alan, and then he can send it to all of you so that we make sure that we've got that information, because there is a penalty for not doing that. So I will send that to him to make sure that you all have that. And with that, I think that's all I have to say. And congratulations to our Christmas decorating tour. That was great. Thank you, Arthur, for presenting that. That was a good deal. So with that now, I think I am through. I will turn this over to our directors. Reed, we will start with you tonight, and Lisa, we will end with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Wanted to say thank you to the Boys and Girls Club for what they do for the city of Siloam Springs, and that I'm glad that we as a city can help support them as they support us. It's good to see the interaction. And concerning the Blackberry Estates that's out there at Sherry Whitlock and Dogwood, I do want to just add to, I guess, and that there's been a lot of excellence shown in the work that they're doing out there, and how they're not only doing the work, but they're keeping it clean and setting a standard. It's good to see in our city. Concerning some cold weather, I'm hoping that it's behind us. I'm ready to see some warmer weather, but boy, that sun, I'd really like to see that soon. But anyway, thank you all for coming out this evening.
Thank you, Reed. Carol?
Director Rissler, you're in my thoughts and prayers. Congratulations, Director Hunt. I know what it's like to be a grandma. It's the most exciting thing. I thank all of the crew, the city crew, for keeping our streets clean and safe, and everything that they do, even taking care of our trash when it's cold. And that's something that I hate the cold weather, and I appreciate our staff that are working out in that cold air. I want to thank the Lankers. I was down at Arch and Axe every day, and they did a tremendous job opening up their building for those that needed some safety. There was a lot of people that took advantage of that. It was very calm. There were a couple of dogs in there that were very docile. They took good care of those. They had sacks of dog food. So they did a wonderful thing for our community, and I appreciate that. That it was just so professional down there, I thought. People were walking around, talking. I think a lot of friends were made there. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you for that. Because we really don't have a place, and we need to think about that. I'm not saying it's the city's responsibility, but I think we need to come together as a group and think about what we're going to do if this happens again. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Carol. David?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to echo the other board members on condolences to Lisa for your family's loss and what you've been dealing with for your grandmother and your aunt, and my condolences to Stacy on the loss of her mom. It was a little over a year ago I lost my dad, and it's tough. I did not get to say at the last meeting my appreciation and thankful gratitude for our law enforcement personnel for the Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So I wish to give my thanks to them, but I'm especially thankful that our police officer will be recovering. That's a huge plus because accidents happen, and all we could do is pray that that medical teams know what they're doing, and that's good to hear. I want to also express my appreciation to the Lanker family for opening their business. I mean, that was something they didn't have to do, and it cost them utility costs, and they don't care because they want to help the community. And that is appreciated that people step up to do that, because there are less fortunate who do not need to be outside in this weather. And thank you to Heather and her husband for doing that. And it was a nice situation that they helped out. I do believe that our city leaders, our city as a government, does need to come together to look at future homeless shelter activation, something to do with helping in that regard, because it is not something that's going to magically go away. And it's something that we should be thinking long and hard about how to help solve this and help those who need lifted up. I also experienced the broken pipes, my own stupidity, and thankful to those plumbers and our city staff who get out and make things happen when we are in emergency situations, as we have been. Congrats to those who won the Holly Jolly. I wish all the winners had been here tonight. I want to congratulate the board and to our staff, but especially the board for having the smarts to buy 2 banners for the sanitation. I thought that was very wise. I was not here, but I thought that was a great thing to do to take advantage of the cost savings and to just help where we need help. And we're thankful that Jason brought that to our attention. I will say on what our administrator brought forth on the new Parks and Rec classes. I attended the Zoom, but they actually took a collection and paid me to no longer come back to the classes. My mom called me after hearing about the gasification project and thought I was in charge because she said I'm such a professional at that. But anyway, I am appreciative to this city, to the city board, and to our mayor for the hard work of 2023, and I look forward to a successful year in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Mindy?
Okay. I echo the condolences for Lisa and Stacy. I have spent a good part of the last week cuddling the squishiest, cutest little baby you ever did see. Very happy to announce my first grandchild. But I was able to spend just a little bit of time down at Archnex one day. Couldn't really commit, knowing that baby was coming, couldn't commit to a time, but I do want to thank the Lankers, the volunteers, and all the donors that were a part of that. And I would agree with what's already been said, that it is something that we need to about for the future. I think we have a good foundation now on which we can build. And I think if just key people from the community, including churches, volunteers, the Genesis House, the city, can just come together and just figure out a plan, even if it's a weather-related plan for extreme heat and extreme cold. It was too cold for anyone to be out. So thank you again for all who did make sure that those who needed it most were well taken care of. Thank you also to the city crews who went above and beyond during the cold weather event. Wow, it's not a job I could have done being outside in that cold as much as they were to make sure everybody was comfortable. And we were in our homes while they were outside working. And I want to thank Parks and Rec for just continuing to keep up a good activity schedule. I've attended Zumba and haven't in a while, but every time I go, that community building is full and it's different people all the time. So a lot of different people that. Same with the Monday night yoga. I go when I can just to get a little stretching. My doctor actually said, you need to be stretching. So I go when I can, and it's a different group there, but full every time I go. So people do enjoy those kinds of things, and I hope that line dancing is well taken advantage of. That's something I might actually be able to do. I'm good at just the regular kind of dance. You tell me what to do. You tell me where my arms and feet are supposed to go. I might be able to do that, and that's what line dancing is. So anyway, just thank them for the activities. And I guess that's it. So I'll pass it on to Ken.
Thank you, Mindy. Ken?
The Bible says to mourn with those who mourn and rejoice with those who rejoice. And we certainly are doing that now. It's an honor and a privilege to live in such a caring community. And that is evidenced every day. And I never get tired of talking about the things we see. I hope the citizens never get tired of hearing about the things that we see. We do have the greatest staff and employees in this city. A little bit of a humorous note. I know they have been behind in picking up trash over the last week and a half. Didn't do it yesterday. They got out today. On my street, they double teamed to make sure everything got picked up. One guy was running down the street. One was driving the truck. I don't know if they flipped a coin to see who did what, but it was humorous, and yet you were thankful that they were out braving the cold. And yesterday, I had to make numerous trips up and down Mount Olive here for whatever reason. And right out here at the intersection, there was a crew. I have no idea what they were doing, but they were digging a hole. And they were there all day long. And I know it was cold. I wish I had time to stop and get them coffee, get them donuts, get them whatever, because they were earning every bit of their salary and more. But this is such a great place. Sometimes it's overshadowed by great things and not so great things, but again, it's such a caring community, and it's so nice to be a part of. And again, I never get tired of saying it, and I hope that people out there never get tired of hearing it, because we constantly need to be reminded of just how good we have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Betsy?
I have a question for Alan Gilbert about the recycling bins. Before, they wanted us to have more than one bin to put like plastics in and I don't know, to divide it up. But now they only want everything going in one bin, or what does sanitation want? What's easiest for them?
Right now, we had a grant, so we were able to buy bins, but we didn't get enough to only get one per customer.
Okay.
If everything go in there, we will sort it out. So they put it in one bin right now, we'll do that.
Okay.
Because we just don't have enough bins, it's just
Yeah.
to give out right now.
Okay. The whole paving Davidson Road and all of that, and I'm glad Mindy asked the question she did about the bond, and I was a little unclear at what was going on, and then heard from a citizen as we were starting to vote. As far as that goes with the road, basically the citizen asked, and I wondered this too, if the road was supposed to be paved and it wasn't, they didn't keep up their end, I mean, why haven't we made them stop with moving forward? Am I missing something? Is the citizen missing something?
Kevin Moore, city engineer. So staff met with the developer prior to them submitting their final plat permit, and the discussion we had at the time was that since it was a condition of approval, the developer was welcome to apply for a final plat permit and then bond the remaining work, but that it might not be approved by this board until the work was actually completed. So with the way that the code is written towards completion of infrastructure, that's the section that it's under, staff felt that it was reasonable for the bond to be applied to Davidson Road, similar to any improvements within the subdivision.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I guess so. The consequences are if we didn't approve the final plat. I don't know, I feel like I'm missing something.
If the final plat were to fail, they would not be able to sell lots. The subdivision would be incomplete. That being said, the bond does not expire. That's one of our requirements by code. And then if it takes them more than a year for whatever reason to complete the work, then they forfeit that, and the city would leverage the bond at that point, or prior to that if they discontinued the work for some reason.
Okay.
I never did hear, how much was the bond for?
I don't recall the exact amount. It was, I'd hazard around $900,000, I believe, just off the top of my head.
$1,000?
$900,000.
Oh, okay.
So was the road supposed to be done by now as one of their conditions?
That was the condition was that they would improve Davidson Road as part of the subdivision. So it could be, there was no stipulation on when it would be completed, I guess is the easiest way to put it. Since it's in the county, we can't tie it to building permits or anything like that. So it was simply a condition of approval so that we had something in writing essentially about what the expectations are. And then we have it as a bond so that it could be done at no cost to the taxpayer if that needed to happen.
Okay, thank you. That helps clear things up. And like everybody said, thank you to staff for all they did in the cold weather and keeping the electric on. I know I have family who live just on the other side of our city limits, and they were without electric for a day and a half during this time. So, yeah, always grateful that we have such a great electric department. Yes, and congratulations. That's awesome. Love the name. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Betsy. Lisa?
I want to say thank you for the prayers and support. I'm going to keep it simple so I don't start crying. I do have to say, they say there's a time and a purpose for everything. And there's times when I was sitting in the hospital, I thought of you, Mindy, and I thought, I'm so happy for you. So, I want to tell Alan that I'm glad that we closed City Hall on Monday. We were asked to drive to the hospital, and you could see cars off on the side and stuff when you're going to the hospital so they could unplug the life support. You think, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you care enough about the city employees that when someone slides on the ice, what is it? It doesn't just affect them. It affects our community, it affects our family, and it affects everybody around them. So I didn't get complaints about closing City Hall, and I'm thankful that the citizens understand that and appreciate that, and that we do live in a community that we actually care about one another and how we're affected. And so I do appreciate our community, and I'm thankful for everything that the crews did during the winter weather. I know whenever I would drive anywhere, I would see them out working with the water and stuff, and I didn't have time to, sometimes I like to try to do stuff, but I didn't have time, but I'm thankful for them that they are willing to do what I wouldn't do. And so I couldn't do probably, if I wanted. On here, there'll be an informational meeting about a potential gasification. You said that the grant, it requires it. And I appreciate that even if the grant didn't require it, that we are listening to the citizens in our community, and that we are having more public input, and we're hearing what the citizens have to say, because this isn't just our community, it's their community, and that's their way of having a voice, and I don't ever want to take the citizens' voice away. It's very important to me. I also wanted to say the little packet that I passed out the first time about the Parks and Rec Center, I kept thinking, I'm getting communication, and we got some emails, and some of them were just to me, and that packet didn't include emails. So if an email was sent to the whole board, I didn't include it in that packet. But I do want to weigh, we can't speak to one another, but I want to know what others are hearing, and I want them to know what I'm hearing. And so I thought, well, what better way than to pass it out during the public meeting and let you guys know what I'm hearing, so that you know, because a lot of times I've noticed in the past, and I thought about this, is I come up here and I'll say, oh yeah, I hear from the citizens, I hear this, and this, but I don't give you any substance. I just sit up here and give you the footnote version, I don't give you the book, and so that way you have the information. I don't include names because I respect the citizens. I always ask, can I share your name? I'm sorry, I did not have time to ask people if I could share their names. I worked on that today when I had time, and I wanted to provide you the information. So I do apologize for not having names. I have not went back and asked if I could share names. If that's, I just wanted to. And I want to piggyback off of something that Betsy always does. She's always bringing up about different organizations in town and stuff like that. And while I've been in the hospital, I see that they are really, and this may be not the correct term, so forgive me. They're needing volunteers for the pink lady. Is it the pink ladies? The ones that wear the pink. But I know Frank Johnson does that, so I don't know.
What's a hospital auxiliary, isn't it?
I don't know what you call them.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Hospital
auxiliary, and they are really needing volunteers. If anybody, if you know anybody that needs something to do or an activity, they look like they have fun, see if they want to volunteer, because they could really use your help at the hospital. And I do appreciate the Manna Center and Arts and Acts and Genesis House and everything they've done for our community and coming together and making sure all our citizens are taken care of.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, one and all.